Okay boys, so we're going to do some more examples on Venn diagrams. So in this question here we have two circles, one's female, one's left-handed. In the female circle we have 38, just 38 females here. Over here in just the left-handed we have 10, and in the middle section in the overlap we have 4. So those 4 people fit into the female circle and the left-handed circle. That means that they must be female and they must be left-handed. Okay, now the first question says, is female and left-handed, these two circles, are they mutually exclusive? Well, the big indicator is that there's an overlap. So no, they're not mutually exclusive. There is an overlap, which means you can actually be both. You can fit into both circles. You can be female and left-handed. So that's not mutually exclusive. They would be two separated circles that couldn't be in both groups if they were mutually exclusive. Okay, in part B it says find the total number of people. So all you're doing is adding all our numbers up and you get 52. If there were numbers floating around the outside of this, you'd have to add that up too, but there isn't this time. Okay, in the next question it says how many left-handed females are there? Well, there's left-handed, there's female. These are the ones that are left-handed and female. So we have 4 of them. Okay, the next one says, what's the probability? So make sure you're answering the question they've said. So here it says how many, so make sure you give a number. This one says, what's the probability? So make sure you answer that. Most of the time, probabilities are fractions, but in this case, they're asking for decimals. So we will be converting them to decimals. All right, so we're going to look at the probability that we have a female in this Venn diagram. So our females are both of these numbers. They're all the people in the female circle. So we have to add the 38 and the 4 together because they're all the females. And then on the bottom, we put the total number of people, which we found earlier, 52. Now you can put that in your fraction key just as it is. You can press the fraction key, put 38 plus 4 on the top, down arrow, and then put the 52 on the bottom, and then just press equals. It will give you that decimal, and then when you round it off to 3 decimal places, because that's 5 or more, you go up by 1 here, and it becomes 0.808. The next one is still probabilities that we're doing. Probability that we have a female that's not left-handed. So here's all the females in this circle, but we don't want anybody that's left-handed. So we don't want these people, it's just these people. So 38 out of 52, get your decimal and round it off to 3 decimal places. Remember to use your SD key if you're wanting to get your decimal and you haven't got one. So after you press equals, press SD and that will get you your decimal. So 3 decimal places, this next digit is a 7, so that's 5 or more, this will go up by 1. Right, the next one, we're doing a probability that this person is female or left-handed. Now remember, or is different. So we do female or left-handed or both. So we want the 38 plus the 10 plus the 4. Female or left-handed or both. So we're going to add all those up on the top and 52 on the bottom, and you're going to get an answer of 1. That's technically not a decimal, but they'll probably give that to you as correct. If you want to put 3 decimal places on the end like that, you can. But just writing 1 will be fine. All right, the next one, the probability of a left-handed male. Now, this is your left-handed group. These people here fitted into the female group. So they are left-handed and female. So these 10 here are left-handed, but they're not female, so they must be left-handed males. Okay, that's what they are. So we have 10 out of 52. Get your decimal and round off to 3 decimal places. Now, this next question makes you think a little bit. So we're going to describe the type of person that would be outside the two circles. So if you have a look over here, if we had a number out here, what would they be? Well, they can't be female because they're already accounted for. So they must be male, but they can't be left-handed because they're already accounted for. So they must be male and they must be right-handed. Because otherwise they have no circle to go into, so that must be what they are. So they are right-handed males. Okay, in number 3, this time we're going to draw our own Venn diagram. So the Tourism Council surveyed 130 people. Just get rid of this so you don't get too confused at the beginning. Alright, so the Tourism Council surveyed 130 people and asked them whether they preferred New South Wales or Queensland as a holiday destination. And this is what they got. New South Wales got 44 votes. Queensland got 66 votes. And some people said, well, I like both of them, so that we like New South Wales and Queensland. There were 20 people that did that. So we're now going to try and construct a Venn diagram based on what they've told us. So we draw up a rectangle. We put 2 circles in there with an overlap. So we have New South Wales in one circle and Queensland in the other circle with an overlap. Now, these people here that liked New South Wales and Queensland, these people go into the overlap on a Venn diagram. So we're going to put those 20 people straight in the middle because it makes it easy for us to do the rest of the work then. We can get that worked out first. All right, now, if 44 people said they liked Queensland and 20 of them are already in here, then this number here is worked out by getting the whole 44 minus the 20 we've already got there, and that will leave you 24 people to sit in there. Okay, so now you can see everything's okay. We've still got 20 people in the New South Wales and Queensland, and we've got our 44 people in our New South Wales circle. So now we're going to work out what number goes here. In the Queensland section. So Queensland, we have 66 people that said they liked Queensland. But 20 of them have already been taken up in that circle already. Take them off, and you're left with 46. And that's the number that will go in that spot. Now, there's still another number that we need to deal with. So if you have a think about it, they said over here that there were 130 people. And if you add up those numbers over there, you haven't got 130 people. So if I do 24 plus 20 plus 46, I end up with 90 people. So we don't have 130 people yet. So that means the rest of those people didn't like New South Wales or Queensland as a holiday destination. So they're floating around here. Alright? So we've got 130 people that we have to make sure are in the diagram. Take off the 90 we already have, and there's your 40 people. Okay, so it's a little bit of fiddling around to get this Venn diagram out, but you need to do it. So in the exam, if you get to this part and you go, I really don't know what to do, I'm confused, then just make some numbers up. You need to make something up. You can't just leave the question blank because we've got more questions to go and we'll go off your wrong numbers if you have got it wrong. Okay, so you won't lose any marks down here if you know what you're doing. Just make something up if you're not sure. Okay, now, this question says, how many people, now this is from your diagram now, how many people like New South Wales or Queensland? Now remember, or is a bit tricky, so we want New South Wales or Queensland, or both. So we're doing 24 plus 46 plus 20. So make sure you include the both because a lot of people forget to add them in. And if you add them up, you'll get 90. Now the next couple of questions are about probabilities. So remember, probabilities are fractions unless they say something different like they did in the other one over here. But normally they're fractions. So what's the probability that a person likes New South Wales exclusively? Now exclusively means only, right? So when you see that word, it means only New South Wales. So I'm writing down here to make my working easier, P for probability, so the probability of New South Wales only. Now look up here on your Venn diagram, New South Wales only is this 24 here. So put 24 on the top, 130 people on the bottom, and press equals on your fraction key and get your simplified fraction. The next one says, does not like New South Wales or Queensland. So not New South Wales, not Queensland, we're finding a probability. Or here's the people that didn't fit into either of those circles. There's 40 of them. So we have 40 of them out of 130 people. Press it into your fraction key and press equals, and 4 over 13 is your simplified answer. Okay, so that's the end of today's lesson. It's time for you to practice some of these for homework. We'll see you next lesson.